Hello, hello, Facebook world, TCI, Jonathan's Refuge, and all of our faithful fellowship, and all of our faithful friends, and all of the people from around the globe that tune in to us weekly to do like we do, learn to grow just one step, one breath, one day at a time. And tonight we're going to jump right into the message. You're thinking, what is wrong? He's not wearing a hat. What has he got on? I got a little mountain outfit on. Sorry about that. I thought I was going to the mountains today. My wife said that in my dreams. At least she said it in my dreams. But I guess in reality, as I'm staring at her here, that it wasn't true. Anyways, so we're going to talk about a compass. Now, what's interesting is in the office here where we do the production of the messages, there's a couple different locations, and we usually choose the desk area in my office as our setup. But today I wanted to do it with this stuff that you see behind me in here. And there's a reason. You see a map. It's actually the west coast of the U.S. It's from Mexico, the U.S. border, up to the Canada-U.S. border. And it's actually a trail called the Pacific Crest Trail, and I'll be walking all 2,650 miles of it next year. And to do that, you need a couple things. One of the things you need is sitting right there, hanging. It's an actual real compass, an actual compass that you hold, and it finds north, south, east, and west. With that compass in my hand, I can navigate anywhere in the world. Without a compass, I learned how to navigate by the stars. My father taught me at a young age in the mountains. I was born above 5,000 feet elevation in the high desert Sierra mountain range. And so Cascade mountain range meets and they call in this one junction, this mountain range is south is called Sierra Nevadas, and this side up is called the Cascades. And I was born right there. And so I grew up learning how to navigate in the woods and in the mountains. And being at high elevation I'm at comfort in those things to me. And so it was interesting. You look at a star and I can tell which direction we're headed. And I know, okay, I'm headed southeast, or I'm headed southwest, or I'm headed northeast or northwest, or whatever it is. And you can do that by a lot of other different things. If there's a lot of ways to get your bearings, and compasses are one of those. One of them I use is this little thing. If you see it, it's got if I can get close enough for you to see it. Sorry, the lighting's not so good, but you got all these little gadgets right here and buttons. And then this whole thing is a black screen, just like a cell phone. And when you turn it on, this little GPS is called a Garmin 66i GPS Map Navigator. This is what I clip to my chest when I take and lead these expeditions up to big mountains. Now, there are certain things that you have to learn how to navigate. And the first is the map. Where are you going? And life's the same way. There's many examples in life of people who set out to do something, but on the journey, they got lost and they didn't understand necessarily where they were going because they kind of forgot their compass. What is a compass? What is the inner compass? Because there are such things as an inner compass. Do you ever get invited to do something? I don't know about you, but as a young man, I remember friends would be like, "Hey, Jonathan, listen, man, Friday night, we're going over to so-and-so's house." Now, the second they said that person's name, that's telling me, hey, and by the way, it's an off-the-hook party. There's going to be drugs, sex, and rock and roll, baby. My inner compass, instantly, the little devil and the little angel pops up on your shoulders. And in my case, it's this sweet little Jonathan. He's standing there looking at me going, "Well, Jonathan, you shouldn't go there Friday night. Now, you know better. You know what's going to happen. Something's going to happen. You might flirt with some girl, and then it's another guy's girl, and then you're going to have to beat somebody up, and that all ends bad. Or you're going to get into mischievous troubles, mister." And you got the other angel, the guy over here, and it's an older version of me. And not the oldest version, but an older version. And he's over there saying, "Do it, man. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be fun. There's going to be women. There's going to be whiskey. And there's going to be some violence. Let's go." That's an inner compass. Have you ever had friends, "Hey, do you want to try this?" They offer you a drug, and you're like, "Yeah, you don't want to say anything, but inside you're like, no, I don't want that." That's your inner compass. My wife's been with people She told me examples of stories where she's been with someone, and inside of herself, she said, "This is a person you need to be away from as fast as you can." And so she did. Her inner compass spoke to her. You guys, I've done it. You've been to a situation like that. A guy named Jonah in the Bible, God told him to go to some town. He didn't want to do it, so he got on a ship, went to some other place, running from what he was supposed to do. The story is Jonah and the whale. And then finally the storm comes, and then they have to throw the guy over because he was a disobedient. The whale grabbed Jonah. What's my point? He had a compass. It told him what to do. He didn't listen to his compass, and hell to pay for it. I can give you example after example. But what's interesting is this. This is the high-tech stuff. This right here, this little gadget in my hand will cost you about $700. And it's got buttons here so I can two-way my wife. I can actually, while I'm on the mountain, talk to her throughout the whole expedition. I can send messages. I can actually send a link to her and any of my team so that what happens is they can track me. And it every 5 seconds goes ping, 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 and it pings the satellite. And my wife can see every single step of my journey. Now, it does some pretty other cool things. Another thing it does is if by chance we got into an avalanche situation or someone got hurt, on the side of this, there's a button that says SOS. I can flip that thing open, hit the button, and an alert goes out to the Rangers and our team of people who are on what we refer to as our emergency team. And then they go into action to spring in to figure out where we're at, getting our GPS and all of that because it's all locked in. Another amazing thing, with this little critter, I can be in a blizzard, literally not see 2 feet in front of me. And this thing is so accurate that within 2 to 3 feet of my body, if I go 2 to 3 feet off the trail, this thing will start beep, 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 beep. Oh, dude, you're off trail by 2-3 feet. And that's amazing also. But even the best compasses still can get you off course just a little by doing one simple thing, by taking your eye off the ball. See that right here? You see the stick? It's called a walking stick. And if you notice, there's a bend right about there. And that walking stick is hanging up there for a reason, because it is a memorial to my climb on Mount St. Helens. And when I was up there, I was coming down one of the 7 steps. And it's this section of rock where literally after the explosion, the rocks all settled. And it looks like stairs like this. You literally climb straight up these rocks. And I want to say, honey, do you think I'm being close when I say maybe 30 feet, 25, 30 feet each stair, maybe?
Yep.
Something like that. 2-story, 3-story house-ish. So you walk straight up like this, and then the step, and then the next one. And it's this huge 7 steps. It's called the 7 steps. And so we're coming back down, and I'm walking up to the 7 steps when all of a sudden, sorry, I was adjusting because of the lighting. I said to my wife and my little sister, I was like, hey, you guys hang on, let me check something, see if we're going the right way. And I leaned forward. I didn't listen to my compass. My inner compass said, don't lean forward, you idiot. But I did. And in doing so, I ended up starting to fall. The rock underneath my foot shifted and it came out. Down straight was this 30-foot drop to rocks. I'm on blood thinners. I hit the ground and I'm done. There's no coming back from that for me. So that stick was the only thing that was holding me bent until my wife and Sierra could grab me and bring me back. So there are compasses in us that keep us from falling. Then you have tools like this tool here that I was using properly, thank God. Had I not had the proper tool, when my compass was working, I just took the eye off the ball for just 1 second. But see, it only takes a second. You've heard the stories. Mom leaves the bathtub with the baby in it for literally 1 second. She just goes to grab the cell phone to run right back in. She was out of the bathtub for 1 or 2 or maybe 3 seconds, but that baby hit her head as she fell, and it was all over. Tragedy, tragic stories. I always love the example of 1 degree off. If you leave Manhattan in a boat and you set your compass and you get your compass all set to go to England, but you actually got off course by just 1 degree. So in other words, while programming your course, you were off by 1 degree. In doing so, when you wake up, you're going to be in France. That's not even the same country as England. How did that happen? You were only off by 1 degree. Yeah, that's how much just 1 degree can throw it all off. golfing, when I ran a very large division, I was a vice president of sales for a company in the golfing industry. You take your golf, the head of the golf clubs, you get your shaft that comes down, and your head, you can adjust them in different directions. Okay. So you got an 8-iron and you can bring it up or bring it down a little. You can adjust the actual head of the club and stuff when you have them custom made. And that little 1 degree open or 1 degree closed can be the difference of a guy's ball or a gal's ball staying in the actual grass, what we call the fairway, or in the right place in life, right? Or you're off in the trees trying to chase your ball. And you know what that is. That's you if you're out there in life trying to figure it all out and you're getting evicted and life's falling apart and you're like, okay, I need to figure out, oh my God, what do I do? And you're scrambling. That's what I mean by going looking for your ball. Okay. That's the difference. Just 1 degree is the difference between life being just consistently good. Doesn't mean you're not going to have problems. Oh, make no mistake. I have a bloody nightmare in my life right now that I'm dealing with multiple situations. And my wife and me, how do we get through it? We know that if we take our eye off the ball for just 1 second, a tragedy can strike. So we're very, very smart in our delegating of our responsibilities in our organizations to make sure that if I'm taking a break, she's on it. And if she's taking a break, I'm on it. And if we are taking a break, we've delegated staff members on it. And so it allows us to make sure that the eye is always on the prize. And in your life, if it's losing weight, my dear friend Brian, I love you, buddy. I hope you're watching. He's lost over 40 pounds. He looks like a stud. I know he's got a girlfriend, so I'm not trying to promote him or anything. So don't hate me, Jennifer. But dang, he's a good-looking fella now, man. Ladies, look at this guy. Jennifer, you're a lucky lady. So how did he get there? It's because he didn't take his eye off the prize. I gave him this plan. I told him what we're going to eat, told him what we're going to walk, told him what we're going to do. Simple, but yet the hardest thing you'll ever do. Really wasn't that complicated. And after a few weeks, the cravings weren't that bad. Next thing you know, everything went great. And here it is. Weight's off. People are looking at him going, whoa, you are a sexy guy. And he hasn't taken his eye off that ball. And then we kind of got to a place where, man, it's nice. Now let's see about if we can just maintain for a little bit, have a little fun. Let's take a cheat day this week. Let's take a cheat day next week. As a matter of fact, every week, let's have a cheat day. And you can do that because you've accomplished something. And now you learn how to maintain it. And then we're in that realm and we're still going to drop. He's still got another 20 pounds he wants to shake. And so we're going to hit that. We're going to, but not yet. He wants to kind of enjoy this phase right now where he's at. He's loving it. Eye is on the prize. He won't allow his eyes to come off it. If you take 1 degree off and you take that eye off the prize for 1 second and you don't have your compass saying beep, 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 you're off course. You will mess it up. If you're at the same thing in investing, if you're trying to invest money for the long term, if you do not be consistent on putting your money into every single paycheck into your investments, into your retirement fund and getting it invested, putting it in there and leaving it in investments properly, I promise you, you will never be a very financially secure person in the end of your life. You will be that person who struggles check to check, who unfortunately, after all the years of living in their home, has to sell it and move in with a child like my grandmother and many others have had to do in their lives. It's sad, but it's because of just that simple step that they didn't do. The compass was telling them, beep, 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 put that money in investments. Don't go out to dinner this week. You've already gone out to dinner twice. You don't need 2 nights of dinners. 3 nights is too much. 2 you can do. Take that extra $100 you were going to spend tonight, put that in your investments, and you start doing that. And that's what that course correction, that compass, be it the manual old-fashioned style or the high-tech gadget ones. And we need that in our life, that inner compass to keep us going. Mentors can be that inner compass. I want to read something to you here. And it's by a man named Dr. Stephen Covey, a brilliant man. He wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm taking my nonprofit entire staff and executive team through this course right now. And he says something about being proactive and as he defines proactive. And it was really interesting. He talks about how the human beings, we need to be responsible for our own lives. And he says, let's look at the word responsibility. So take the word responsibility and write it out. And when you look at it, it's 2 words, response, and the second word, ability. So take response and ability, put it together. It spells responsibility, which he defines as the ability to choose your response. Man, listen to that. You get someone that gives you information. You get to decide your course. I get to decide my chart of my course. I chart it. So my boss just told me off. I get to decide how I respond. It is my ability to choose my response. You are the only person that has that power. You could be in prison. Viktor Frankl, the famed psychologist, came out of the Freudian world. He was a prisoner of war in the concentration camps, was a Jewish man. If you haven't read Viktor Frankl, you haven't explored the mind, and you're really missing out on life. This was a brilliant psychologist and psychiatrist. This man was genius. And what's interesting about Viktor is he said that in the concentration camps, everything was delegated to him by them. They told you when to go to the bathroom. They told you when to go to bed. They told you when to wake up. They told you how to sleep. If they didn't like the way you were sleeping, they woke you up and told you to roll over. The Nazis were that bad. But he said, no matter what they said to me, I chose how to have an attitude because it was my choice. So he owned the Nazis. The Nazis never owned Viktor Frankl. Who owns you? You see, they controlled his physical whereabouts, but his compass inside never allowed his attitude to be controlled by the people on the outside. His compass on the inside said, it's okay. I understand that I am almost completely anorexic and that I'm probably going to die here and that we're tortured and we're starved and we're beaten and they're killing us. He was in Auschwitz and a few others, some horrible places. And he smiled every day, and he worked with the other fellow Jews to teach them how to smile through all of this suffering. He even worked with some of the actual guards because he realized there were so many guards that were actually good men, totally confused on what they were doing and like, okay, I'm a supporter of my country, but I think what we're doing is wrong here. And he goes through telling stories about how he worked with them and how they became kinder, more compassionate people without necessarily even stopping all the violence. So they were small cogs in the wheel, but they did their parts to try to release people, help people escape, all kinds of little things, making their life a little easier. I'm not saying that justifies anything. I'm not even telling you that. I'm just telling you what Viktor went through. He helped them because his inner compass said to. What is your inner compass telling you? Listen to your inner compass. God will teach you. I've gone 17 minutes. I've gone enough. I love you guys. I want you to focus on your inner compass. There's a great story about Jonah and the whale in the Bible. Feel free to jump into that. And it's a great example. The stories I just shared with you, simple, simple, simple. There's a compass in all of us. And if we listen to that inner compass, it'll guide us. If you don't have your compass and you're not sure what that is, get with someone in our church. You know, as the Archbishop, I have the pleasure of working with some of the greatest bishops and pastors and people in our organization. I would love to plug you up with any of them throughout the world that we have connections with and get you in a place of mentorship. I would love to touch base with you. Write me, call me, come out and visit us. We've got a location in Marysville. We'd love to see you every Thursday night from 6 to 7:15. Dinner's at 6 to 7, 7 to 7:15. We do a fellowship, and you watch a quick video like this. We love you guys. God bless you. I know all the men at the refuge, you guys. I miss you tonight. I wish I could be there with you. We're preparing for our annual board meeting this weekend. Lots of fun things coming up. Very busy. I got to do lots of work. So I love you guys. God bless. Live positive. Let's go out there and coexist in a world that we listen and pay attention to our inner compass.